Here is week 2 of the California Extreme Mustang Makeover in 2020, and I'm competing with my mare, All That Jazz, who is a Devils Garden mare. She's doing really well. She's extremely smart and curious, which is making training really easy. Here I'm showing her the pad. She's only ever had an English saddle on and an English pad, so this one's a little different. She reacts a little bit to it, but I continue with the same speed and she realizes that it's not going to hurt her, and she does really well. What I do to one side, I always do to the other because horses tend to react differently to the different sides. And this side she's a little bit more sensitive on, I've noticed, from different things, but she did really well with putting on the pad and could care less about it. So here I'm going to get my Western saddle, which again is different from my English. It's a heavier, it has the fenders to the stirrups, which make a little bit different noise when going over and flapping on her. So I'm just giving her a chance to sniff it, and she seems fine with it. She's very curious about it. She gets a little nervous and you see her kind of pull back. She's just kind of looped around my hitching post. She's not tied, so she could pull it off if she really wants to. And I'm just kind of making the motion as if I was throwing it on. And when she kind of settled, I threw it up on there. And she reacted a little bit, but I was really happy with, she didn't pull back and freak out that much. You can see she's reacting a little bit more when I walk up on this other side. Again, I'm not really tiptoeing around this horse. I don't want her to when she goes to a new home, for someone to walk up and throw something on her and for her to freak out and have this big accident. I really want to almost push the boundaries a little bit, but still keep her comfortable. But I'm just moving at a normal pace, and I'm keeping my confidence up and my breathing steady so that she knows that I'm there for her and that I have confidence so she could have confidence as well. She's had a cinch on before, but I'm just kind of tightening and loosening until I go to put it on finally. And I kind of snap that latigo right there, which kind of made her react a little bit, but she did really well. So once I've done up the cinch, I'm kind of messing with the stirrups. I'm shortening them because this is my dad's saddle. So I'm just kind of doing everything here. She did really well. Again, I'm not tiptoeing around her. I'm doing everything I would on a normal horse. I love that her ear is really listening to me back there, and you could see it keeps turning to me, and sometimes we'll go to other things around the yard, but she's really focused on me, which is I really like in a horse. Next up, I'm putting this side pull on her, which is kind of like a halter. It just has these little rings on the side that I could hook reins to, and she's really head shy, so this was a big thing for her. And again, I'm just kind of putting it up over her nose, and then I'll take it back off and put it back up, just getting her used to the feeling of something else being up on there. And I liked using this side pull because I could unhook it and kind of flip it over her like a normal halter would, and I could stick her ears through without having to grab them because she is so sensitive up there, and that's something we need to work on a little bit more. So you could see her kind of react. I got an ear and just because she's so sensitive, she kind of reacted, but did really well and didn't freak out all that much. And it's just kind of a little wonky on her head right now. So I'm just trying to fix that, and you can see how sensitive she is. I went ahead and gave her a little reward, kind of also messing with her forelock and her head, just trying to get her more used to my hands being up there and her more comfortable with her head being touched. Now in the round pen, I'm kind of lunging her so she can feel the saddle fenders on her sides, and the weight is a little different from the English saddle she's had on before, and she does really well. And this was also kind of the first time I was disengaging her hindquarters, and you see she didn't quite understand at first and then figured it out. And again, I'm using a cue to tell her that I want her to change directions, and the cue I was always taught is to say the word here. So all of my horses know when I say the word here is to turn. So I'm using this with her as well, and I found that she does listen to it really well, having a cue instead of just listening to the body language. So again, disengaging the hindquarters, and she figured it out. Now the reason I put the side pull on is so I can ground drive her, so I have the reins or the lunge lines hooked to the rings in the side pull, going through the stirrups in the western saddle and out, so I can almost mimic steering. And it took about a good 20 minutes for her to figure this out. She was kind of stuck with it. I didn't get it on video, but at first she was kind of spinning circles, and I just let her figure it out. And finally we got to this point where she figured it out and was doing really well. She did not care that the ropes were touching her back legs, which was really surprising. A lot of horses like to kick out at them. So up next, I'm starting the process of what I would do when I get on, just flapping the fenders, putting myself on both sides of her, and you could see she's really listening with her ears here. And I'm just making noise and moving all around. And here I make sure to touch all areas of their body. You could see I was rubbing my hand around her hindquarters there, kind of mimicking as if someone's leg was to rub over her back when they were getting on and off. Here she wanted to walk off, and I kind of cue her to stay, and she did really well. She didn't pivot around or anything, and she stayed right up next to the mounting block, which was good. I'm putting my foot in the stirrup and kind of bouncing on and putting some more weight on that side for her to get used to the mounting process. And of course, what I'm doing to one side, I am going to do on the other side. I just don't think I show it here. Here we are on the other side. I'm getting ready to semi-mount her again, putting weight in that stirrup, kind of making noise on the other side with the other fender. And she's getting a little stuck, so I wanted to move her around, just get her feet unstuck. And here you can see I have all my weight on her. She did really well, and I ended up stepping up on her. This was kind of my ta-da moment. I was really happy with myself and with her for being so comfortable with me. And all I did was step up on and go ahead and get right back off, just to let her know to be comfortable with it, and I didn't want to push her too far. And I'm not big on giving treats, but I thought she deserved a little carrot right here. I find that treats make horses a little mouthy, especially my horses. They get super mouthy. Again, here she got a little nervous on that other side where she's more sensitive and wanted to step back. So I just kind of moved this mounting block, and you could see I'm kind of throwing it around there and making noise with it, and she doesn't really care. I find it's important to mount from both sides because a lot of what I do is out on trails, and you're not always able to mount from the correct side. Maybe you're on a narrow trail and you can't turn your horse around, or just different situations where you have to mount from the opposite side. So having a horse who's comfortable with that is very important to me, and just getting them used to having the same thing happen on both sides where they react a little differently is very good for their development. I believe that was it for this day. I only stepped up on her a few times and got right back off, and afterwards she got a munch on a little grass, which she was really happy about, and found it kind of funny because all of my other animals, you could see here I have the dogs and my goat are out, and she didn't really care about them. Here we are doing the loading process. I've worked on this a little bit before, and here she is walking right up, doing an excellent job. She could care less about this, but this day I went ahead and started to work on putting the panels on just so I can start thinking about trailering her places. I want her to be used to the pressure on her side and the fact that, she is stuck in there when I close the panel, and for her not to freak out is a big deal and just a big safety reason. So here I am, I'm kind of putting the pressure on and releasing it, and when I find that she's comfortable with that, I go ahead and latch it and step back. And we ended up closing the back doors and then opened them right back up, took her out, and did the whole process over again. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos coming out soon. And for more information about Mustangs and the Extreme Mustang Makeover, go ahead and visit the Mustang Heritage Foundation online, and they have a lot of great information on there. Thanks again for watching, and I'll have another video out next week.